This is John D'Agostino with D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm, and I'm proud to be a sponsor and partner of WABC Radio and Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel. God bless America.
I'm attorney Jenna D'Agostino, continuing the legacy my father, John D'Agostino, started 35 years ago.
I grew up on these New York and New Jersey streets. They shaped me. I'm attorney John D'Agostino from D'Agostino and Associates, the injury firm.
Call our team first.
888-24-LAW-24. 888-24-LAW-24. D'Agostino Law Bite Back.
The cold winter weather is coming, and the team at Peerless Boilers, they're ready to help you prepare for this season. It's time to make sure your home is nice and warm for the cold weather. Save loads of money on your fuel bill. Do it now before it's too late and you've got a mess on your hands. Start thinking about replacing your old beast of a boiler with a new high-efficiency Peerless Boiler. Go to peerlessboilers.com, pop in your zip code, and you'll find a dealer near you. Remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers, and proud sponsor of Sid and Friends in the Morning, live from Israel.
Sid and Friends in the Morning. 77 WABC.
On your mind, 'cause in your dream, demons scream. I know it's gonna hurt you like
Thompson Twins, King for just one day. Paul King is coming up. Genius, Louis. You know, the last time I came on the air and talked bad about an Italian restaurant was Spumoni Gardens. And the owner, Louis, who I love dearly now, reached out to Arthur Idala and said, you get Sid back here as soon as possible. And we're back a couple of times, and you talk about being treated like king for one day. That's what Spumoni Gardens did, so. I don't know. Rosanna Scotto's got a great Italian restaurant, too, Fresco's. And we've got two great ones in our own neighborhood with La Sorrentina. That's my favorite.
Really,
Rocco's.
very good.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Parkside, I don't know, needs some work. Anyway, Paul King for just one day, is running for office. He's out of my neighborhood in Bell Harbor. And for the second consecutive time, he's running against that louse, that career politician, Gregory Meeks. Paul married to the lovely Margaret Powers. And here he is, my friend Paul King. Paul, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Sid. Well, I'm a little bummed about my Mets, but I'm also confused. Can you tell me who's speaking along with President Trump at Madison Square Garden?
Only me. That's all I know so far.
Well, it's like, back in the day, way before we were born, Yanks had murderers row. You had Lou Gehrig and you had Babe Ruth. You didn't split them up. I think it's you and Trump.
I think so too, but we'll see. That's very nice of you to say, Paul. Thank you. But we will see what the Trump team does. But just being on stage, the same stage with Trump at Madison Square Garden that night is just unbelievable. But let's get to you. It's about you. You got this race coming up here against Gregory Meeks. You've run a fine campaign. Our neighborhood in Bell Harbor. There's like three guys. There's really four guys that we want to see win. It's Mike O'Reilly for Senate, obviously Tom Sullivan for Assembly, Steve Weiner, guy's a terrific judge, and you, and whether it's Howard Beach or Bell Harbor, like I said, or Broad Channel, there are signs for you guys everywhere. How is the campaign going so far with less than 3 weeks to go?
Well, I'm having a lot of fun, but we also have signs in the deep Democratic areas, too, including, behind one of the biggest churches that supports Democrats. I think it got my face staring at them every Sunday. I'm generally a shy person, but I actually love getting out there, dealing with all the cultural diversity, engaging these first-generation Americans who, registered as Democrats, but they realize that they're really Republicans in their values, and I'm helping them find their voice. The Guyanese, the Bengalis, the Dominicans, getting them in the game. I have fun dealing with people who have, frankly, preconceptions about white Republicans. I walk in the room and they're skeptical of me, and I'm fine with that. But the fun part is when you show them, hey, we have common ground. It's not Republicans that are holding them back. It's the Democrats that are holding their families back. So when those light bulbs go on, when we have good conversations, it's awesome. And I guess I get a little silly pleasure out of the fact the Democratic Party seems to be freaking out about me, too.
Yeah,
so
I like that. I like that, too. You know, one of the things I thought about today was yesterday Mike Lawler was on the show. And Lawler's running, of course, again for Congress up in Rockland County. And he's got 3 debates, 3 with Mondaire Jones. Anthony D'Esposito out of Nassau County, he'll be on tomorrow. He just had a debate, I believe, yesterday with Gillum. And every time I talk to you guys in my neighborhood, the other ones won't give you debates. Last you and I spoke, I don't think Gregory Meeks ever said yes to a debate. Isn't that the case?
It's true, though it's possible tonight at the NAACP Jamaica Branch Candidates Forum, I think it's possible he'll show up. I haven't been told whether he will or he won't, but they took a little time to schedule it, so I thought they might be working around his schedule. And just the fact that he showed up in Howard Beach this week to tour Charles Park, that's like Kamala Harris visiting the border. That's an election year move to be like, hey, maybe he's concerned. I mean, Charles Park, the gateway where I played when I was a kid, it was great. They let it fall apart. It's a disgrace. It's like the armpit of the National Park Service. So why is he showing up suddenly? So maybe he'll show up tonight, and it's not a debate per se, but at least we'll be in the same room and hopefully be able to contrast what he's not getting done versus what I will get done.
You know, people talk about where we live as paradise. They do. The Irish Riviera. Curtis talks about it all the time. And it is lovely. I really can't think of another place in New York. I really can't that I'd rather live. I mean, Westchester is lovely, obviously. There's some other nice areas. But we live in a really terrific area. But that doesn't mean we're not very far away from areas that are not so terrific, which, of course, you would have to serve if, in fact, you beat Gregory Meeks coming up in a couple of weeks. What are the major issues in these areas that have been run by Gregory Meeks for all these decades?
Well, and when I go to these areas, what I tell people is, I've seen Bell Harbor come from, it was like a lower middle class neighborhood. My dad worked 3 jobs. You had a lot of like blue collar people when we got there, and the neighborhood wasn't so polished when we were kids. Over decades and generations of hard work, it's gotten better. And I see other neighborhoods that haven't improved that much. And, it's not the simple answer isn't, oh, no, it's because of the color of our skin versus someone else's skin. It's because you politicians have let your schools fall apart. So people realize their kids have no future if they have no education.
Well, one of those, give me the names of those neighborhoods.
Okay. Well, here's, Edgemere, which is on the Rockaway Peninsula, is a lot like Bell Harbor was decades ago, and they're all black homeowners trying to get ahead, and it always feels like the government's cutting their knees out from under them, or they're changing the zoning laws. They're depressing their housing values. If you go further into Far Rock itself, I mean, Far Rock's always had much higher unemployment, much higher crime than other areas, and they're not getting ahead. Parts of South Jamaica, as you go up in the kind of in the other side of the district. Same deal. It's it's generation after generation. Kids don't get an education. No one's got access to jobs, and people are stuck in a bad life. And the Democrats say, well, we've got these programs to keep you going, so that they give you enough so that you can survive a bad life, as opposed to living, as I always say, living your American dream. And Meeks does nothing about it. He likes being the big player on the national stage. He wants to get the chair of foreign affairs back so he can travel the world, go see the Dalai Lama. That's a great success story for him, but he's left all these people behind, and he really has no idea how to fix problems. That's what I do for a living.
No, you do. I know you do that. He doesn't. He does, as you point out, he travels a lot. He's seemingly all over the world. And we've had these discussions, you and I, over the last 2 times that you've run many, many times, which is a lot of those apartment buildings, those NYCHA buildings, I guess, that are in Gregory Meeks' area, they have all kinds of issues. The winter's coming up. That's the next season before the summer. Heating issues, all kinds of issues. You've been in these buildings. You've gone to meetings inside these buildings where Meek said he would show up. He doesn't even show up. That mother effer doesn't even show up.
No, and, my NYCHA friends here in Rockaway, they have a group called Rockaway Neighbors Helping Neighbors, and they're going to have a candidates forum on Monday. I didn't even mention that because I figured there's a 0 chance he'll show up for that. And I'd bet the house that he won't be there Monday. And, Yeah, well, winter comes, you can guarantee that at least one of these places, the hot water will go down for a couple of months, or the heat will be out, and it's a rough life. And again, he came out of night shift, but he's not helping build a path for people to succeed the way he succeeded.
You talked about the schools too, and that's your first real sign of whether a neighborhood, a town, a community, a city is on the rise or on the decline. And I'm not going to lie to you. My son goes to high school in New York City, in Manhattan, not locally. I know St. Francis is a great school. I know Scholars is a great school right in our neighborhoods. But I don't know about these other schools in Meeks neighborhoods not far from us. But I get the impression, the way you talked about it, that the schools are not very good. In fact, maybe very bad. Is that the case?
It certainly is. I mean, our district on the whole underperforms the other districts in the city, but even in the city as a whole, only half the kids in public school nowadays read at grade average, and if you're in the African American neighborhoods, it's more like 35%. They're failing the kids, and it's not just they spend tons of money on it. They just don't set them up for success. So it's not all about the classroom. It's understanding. People say there's systemic problems. You have to understand what causes kids to fail and what parents need to help their kids succeed. No one in government's thinking like that. They're just throwing more money at wherever the teachers union tells them to do it, and nothing's changing. So these are the sorts of things you want to fix. And on top of that, because you asked me what the big issues are. I mean, that's these are the long-term things. But right now, everyone's hurting because prices are too high, and they're ticked off about all the illegal immigrants. And I know President Trump's going to jump all over these two issues when he gets there.
Oh, he certainly will, no question. I'll tell you one thing about our neighborhood. The Republican stronghold is awesome. Your wife, Margaret, does a terrific job. Mary Glynn does a great job. You do a great job. That Rockaway Republican Club, I feel like, is one of the better, if not best, Republican clubs anywhere in the city. So win, lose, or draw, Paul, the job that you guys do in Rockaway is extremely important.
Well, and I got to thank your wife, Danielle, because she came to our last meeting, and she's a rock star. Clearly, she came in after a full day, and she was tired. She still looked great, and we were talking about this heinous Proposal 1 on the back of the ballot that everyone has to vote no on. And, even though we're all passionate about it, she's a professional. She could be dispassionate, and, I know how she feels, but she explains it in a way, where it's clear, and it was very valuable for everyone in the neighborhood to hear.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I know she appreciated it, and she is very, very smart. And I was looking forward to seeing you guys, and I appreciate you calling her. I was in Israel, and certainly I know she did a great job, so thank you for saying that. So on the way out here, Paul, for folks that would like to vote for you, like to help you, maybe donate to the cause, folks that have figured out after all these years that Meeks is one of these career politicians like a Chuck Schumer, the rest of these guys that just don't care. Listen to me, my African-American friends in Far Rockaway. Gregory Meeks doesn't care about you. You remember Kanye West after the Hurricane Katrina? George Bush doesn't care about you. Listen to me. Gregory Meeks doesn't care about you. Paul King does. How can folks help you out, Paul?
I could still use some cash. Here's the deal. The Democrats don't want my message to get out there. Actually, they called up a civic leader. So an elected official called a civic leader this week, spent 2 hours berating her to make sure I could speak at her meeting. That's how much they don't want my message out there. So, but, I might not be able to get past this kind of blue wall of censorship. If you're listeners, some of them just skip lunch, send me $20 today. That's 400 people I can text or email. They can't stop me from getting the word out. And that's what I need to, just keep getting the word out, and we're going to win. So if king2024.us, if some folks can, just drop 20, that's 400 people I'll get to, 400 votes I can try to swing, and hopefully win this thing.
All right, take care, my friend Paul King. Not only does he have all the right ideas, he's on the right side of all the issues. Trust me when I tell you, he's one of the nicest, most decent gentlemen you'll ever meet. And he's married to a great lady, Margaret Powers. Paul King, great job here today, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sid. Have a great one.
We'll see you in the neighborhood. There he is, Paul King, folks. Make sure you vote for Paul King over Gregory Meeks.